Hello YouTubes, we have a very cool DCC conversion project today, Bud RDC car. We're going to fit front and rear lights, white and red, and interior lighting. This could be epic. So this is a Lifelike proto model, I believe, Canadian Pacific number 9102. Now, I'm not sure if the number boards are transparent, so I'm not sure if we'll be able to get lights behind there. If we can, that would be awesome, because I will be using a TCS T4 LED, so we can have the front and rear lights on one function. Obviously, when it goes that way, those headlights come on. When it goes that way, those lights come on. And I'm going to wire it up so that we can have red lights at the opposite side of when it's going forward, so they can switch over, but they only need to use one function. Another function will be for the interior light. I'll be able to control that through the cab controller, so the lights in the interior don't have to be on all the time, but you know, if it's moving, then you want them on. Another function could be the number board lights if they are transparent. Now, some of them also had the Mars light in the front on the door, I believe, down here, but this one doesn't have that hole, so I'm not going to bother with that. But we do have the headlight up there, and I'm hoping that those two little holes at the side are also transparent. So they will be white going forward, or possibly just red when it's, you know, at the back end. It might be a wee bit much to try and add white lights there and the headlight, but we'll see. So let us dismantle. We'll get the decoder fitted first before we start doing all the lights. Now, I have been into this already when I was doing its cleaning job. So there are 4 screws holding the shell on. There is 2 at the front or back. Which way are we? That's the back. There is a kind of push me pull me. It can go in either direction, but let's just call this the back. So 2 screws here and 2 screws at the other side. And now the body will just slide off, like so. One of the more simple removals of a loco. Now, what's next? Well, we have this gigantic circuit board that we're not going to use. At least I don't think so. Let me have a quick look at this. We have our pickups coming in with these red wires here. So, as I say, let's say this is the front. So that's the left rail. Comes in there, goes onto that bar, goes all the way along. Rear, left, attaches to that, which is also attached to this line of power here. I am just trying to figure out if I can use this board. I don't think I will. I think all these diodes and resistors are going to complicate things. However, I can still use this board as a platform to install the LED strip on the underside for the cab lighting. So maybe just disconnect this electronically, mount the decoder on top of that. That's a nice little platform, and mount the LED strip on the underside. I think that's the plan, Stan. Okay, I had a closer look at this, and I think I can actually use some of this board. You see these outer lines here? They connect the front and rear trucks on the right side, and this is on the left side. So the power is coming up to that connection there, power is coming up to that connection there, sorry, there. And then it's going into the motor with that connection there. So if I disconnect these two from the motor, because they're going to be getting their feed from the decoder, then this whole bar is going to be powered. There's a little X there, and there's one there, and there's one there. So if I scrape that little X to stop the power going from this point over to this point, then I can actually solder the power in at that point there to the decoder. And on the other side, there's a little X there. Scrape that away to stop the circuit continuing, and solder on the power from the left rail to the decoder on that one there. And then the power to the motor from the decoder, we can just remove these little clips and let's see now. Yeah, there's a little wire on the underside there, a little red wire. We can just connect the power to the motor from the decoder directly to those wires, put these wee plugs back in so that it doesn't mess anything up. So that's going to be power from the rails to the decoder and then from the decoder to the motor. And all I have to really do is scrape away those little X's. I think all this is just to control the lighting front and back. We're not going to be using them because we want it controlled all by the decoder. Okay, right, that's the new plan. So I will still be removing this to install the LED strip on the underside. First then, I'm just going to remove the lights front and back. These are incandescent bulbs anyway, I'm not going to be using them. However, I think I will install the new bulbs, the LEDs, in the same place and utilise the sort of fibre optic cable that goes there. Okay, we can just snip that off. It's 2 wires. And they'll be coming straight from the left and right rails, so we don't need to worry about them. Might cut them back a little bit. Okay, same in the back, I mean the front. Now these are clipped in with those little things, so let's see if we can just remove them. Save having wires floating about. Perfect. Right, remove the other one. Lovely. And we'll just put these little things back on, just in case there's any live wires floating about. Okay, so now we only have power coming in from the rails to these bars. Right, let us scrape away where it's the little X there. Carefully. This might be easier to do when it's not attached because I'm not getting downwards pressure that I would like. So let's hold off on that. In a moment we'll remove the power from the front truck and the motor. Oh, it's just the front truck, which is now burst, so I'm going to have to reattach that. That's fun. Okay, front left disconnected. I managed not to break it off the pickup. And those other 2 wires you see there are going to the motor from those 2 points there. So let us remove them also. These little clips make life much easier, however they're not as reliable as soldering it direct. Okay, so the whole front is disconnected. Just going to put these little covers back on for now. Very easy to lose. And we might as well remove these for now as well. Right, so all the wiring is disconnected from our circuit board. Let us remove it and see where we're going to put our LED strip. Like so. Right, let's see, we only want it to go from this point here to this point there. There's no point having it over this, because that's where the motor is. You're not going to see that anyway. So I think what I'll do is just mark with a Sharpie where I want the light strip to go. We don't even have room to add our, if we were going to do a keep alive for the light strip, because that sits flush there. We could possibly put it this side, but it's going to hang down. I'm going to try it without a keep alive capacitor thing at the moment. There is possibly room to mount it up here, because remember the body of the shell here is raised here, so we could actually put stuff up there if we want, but I'm not too bothered about that at the moment. I want to work on this. Okay, I'm just going to mark the lighting for the interior no further than, let's see, there, and right down to here we want it. So I obviously can't go any further than that gap there, so let's go there, there, there and there. For the lighting itself, I have opted for a warm white, which is signified by the white and the yellow. So let me move this out of the way. We're not using that at the moment. I'll give you a slightly closer look in how we're going to wire this and stick it onto that plate. If you've not used these LED strips before, they are fantastic. Basically, you have, once I get it out, let's see. Okay, so there's your strip of LEDs. You see these little copper tabs there? That's where you connect the power. Positive there, negative there. Every single set has got a positive and negative, so you can't go wrong. And they come in groups of 3. Each 3 or set of 3 LEDs has got its own resistor. So these are 12 volt with a resistor to stop them popping. So I could technically cut that there, and I can have sets of 3. So let's see then, we want it to go from here. I actually want it way up there. So we could have it from there all the way up to there. That's going to be ideal actually. So I'm going to cut it there, right in the middle, so that we can use the next section on the next bit of lighting that we want. So I've still got my little copper tabs there. We can put that out the way for now. Just double check that that's going to sit there quite nice. Lovely. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now let's see which way around. This is the front. This is the motor's going to be a bit here, so the wires are going to go from those tabs along here and up either side there to go to the decoder. So I'm going to install this just this side of the black mark there. Before I glue it down, let's solder it together. Well, I've soldered the wires on. This is fairly straightforward. Need something heavy down there to stop it flopping about. I might as well use one of my 1, 2, 3 blocks. Okay. So we have positive there, negative there, and I am going to use a purple wire and a blue wire. This will become obvious later, but for now, trust me, I'm going to wire the blue wire, or solder the blue wire to the positive and the purple wire to the negative. Okay, as I say, don't worry about the colours at the moment. They are important, but for now, just trust me, okay? So just a tiniest smudge of flux on these connections. I just find it's easier. So as I said, purple is going to be the negative. Let's get a little blob of solder on them first. I'll get a purple on. And our blue. Blue on the positive. I know, you're probably freaking out. It's like, why are you not using red for the positive? Don't worry, trust me. Right, so that is our LED strip ready to be glued on to its base. So let's do that now. I am going to use the good old hot glue. I've tried double-sided tape before, it just doesn't work. So it's going to go a bit there. Lovely. Let's do that. Doesn't need much. Get that in before it sets. I wasn't fast enough. Tell you what, I'm going to peel off this backing, which does have double-sided tape on it, but it's not very good. However, it is preventing the strip from sticking because this backing is kind of shiny. Let's try a wee bit more glue. I guess it was quite cold when it went on. So much for not needing much. Get on quickly before it sets. Lovely. Right, we're stuck this time. So this wire's just going to go up here, go up to here, up here out the front like so. First thing I want to do though is hook this up to a little battery just to make sure these are working. Should have probably done that before I stuck it down, but hey, better late than never. Right, I'm going to use a 9-volt battery, which obviously isn't as much power as the DCC system is going to give it. However, these new decoders I'm using have got a 1000 ohm resistor in them. So it should kind of balance out to be roughly what it would be like with 9 volts, roughly speaking. Just need to strip these back a little bit. Let's test this. So blue was positive. Purple negative. That is quite a nice colour, which you can't see, so I will turn that light off briefly. You can see the glow there, a nice warm glow. I think that's more appropriate for this style of car. Okay, we can continue. Lights please, maestro. Let's go on with this. These are the little pickups for the lights that we don't need anymore, so might as well remove them. Don't worry, pay attention. I will update you if I've got this wrong as we go. I think so far we're good. Okay, yes, so these are the track pickup there, track pickup there. So these at the ends, RP1 and LP1 are track pickup, and RP2, LP2 are the track pickup. They go along those bars there. So we need to do some butchering here. Now I was trying that knife and I don't think it was sharp enough, so I'm going to just try a sharp screwdriver just to cut a little X there and a little X there. So all we're doing is breaking this circuit so that it basically terminates at that point there. So I've never done this before, so I'm not sure how deep I have to go. What I could do actually, I could just drill a hole through there and then we'll know for sure that they're not connected. But knowing me, I would just drill a massive hole right through. This is not ideal. I really can't see if this is working at the moment. If you've got a better solution other than the drill of scraping this connection apart, leave a comment please. Right, let's try that one there. And where's the other one? The other one is going to be there. Yep, that little X there. I've only just spotted, don't know if you can see that. Cut for DCC. Okay, I think that's through. I'll test that with a circuit tester. I don't think I have to worry about the rest, but just to be on the safe side, there is another X right there. I'm just going to cut the intersection, or just make sure nothing's going, or power isn't going where it's not supposed to go. Okay. I don't think it matters because I'm not using the lighting from this board, but just to be safe. Alright, let me just do a quick circuit test on that and I'll come back and let you know if we have indeed separated these power lines. Okay, I've hooked up a 9-volt battery to the power side, each side of the rails. So these go along here, go along the back, and if we connect the red wire to the same side that one's connected, which would be in here, and the black wire to here, the light should come on, which it does. So far so good. Now let's try the red wire beyond the little scored bit, and it doesn't come on. So that's good, that means that score has worked. Light back on. And let's see, where else would it go? P6 just there after that score. The light should not come on. It does not. And finally, get the light back on again. Just there. Did we test P1? Don't think so. Okay, so that one after that score doesn't work. This one after that score doesn't work. And presumably none of the rest will work after these scores. So we're good. We have separated these circuits. We can continue. But you know what I'm going to do? Once I can remove these things. Disable the battery. That's that out of the way. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to future-proof this. And by that I mean install a couple of wires onto the end of this light strip, just in case I want to add a capacitor in the future. So I'm going to use one of these little connector doodads. I'm going to use the female side. Well, it's positive female, but I tell you what I'll do. I will cut it because I want it to come attached there, hook round here, and we decided that this was the front. Doesn't matter, it's going to be, it needs to be about that long if I want to install a capacitor in the roof section. So let's make it about this long. So I'm going to attach these two wires here, and it doesn't matter, this time I want them black and red. So red will be the positive, black and the negative, and they will curl round and they'll just sit a bit here. Because I've installed the negative side of the plug, it's not going to short out on anything. And we can just tape that down until it's time to install a capacitor or stay alive or whatever we want to install. But yeah, let's future-proof this. Oh, for goodness sake. Wholesale flux paste going on here. Don't need that much. Come on, don't be silly. Get you off again. Get our wires on. Okay. And that can actually curl around like that. That's ideal. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm just going to put a blob of hot glue there, just so they don't detach. And we're all set for the next stage. Also acts as an insulator for those wires as well. It kind of splurged out a wee bit more than I would have liked. go down and then we'll move on. Okay, I have reattached that power pickup from the right rail that fell out. Once I got into it, I realised that it was more of these little things that are holding the power pickup wires to these bogies. However, I could not get it back in properly, so I've just soldered that on. I should have probably soldered all of them just for, you know, just in cases, because I was getting an intermittent fault with this front truck, and that would explain it if this wire was not connecting properly to the bogie. Anyway, it's soldered on now. So we have our left front, left rear pickup, that's that one there, right front pickup, right rear pickup, and these are our 2 wires going to the motor itself. So we've got 6 wires basically. Let's get this bad boy back on with our light strip installed. We can just screw that back down now. Lovely. We can reattach our power pickups. Let's see, that one goes in there. I wonder if I should just solder these. I'm not happy with these little caps, and I've got my soldering iron nice and hot. Yeah, I think I'll just solder them. It's easy enough just to unsolder them if I'm not happy, if anything doesn't work. But generally, as much as those little caps are handy, they're not very tight, if you know what I mean. So let me solder all of them on. Okay, I'm happier with that. So that's all our power pickups coming from the trucks to the front, to the back, and that's our motor wires here. That's our LED strip, and that's for the capacitor if we choose to install it. Right, let's get the decoder out. Here's our little decoder, and I think I am going to put him, let's see now, we have our body there, so we've got plenty of room up here between this section and this section, so I think right there, that makes sense. The wires are coming out that way, so let's see, should we go this way? And it's going to interfere with my little diodes. I mean, I could take them out, but lazy, so not going to do that. Let's put our little harness in, and then we'll see how much room we have. Can we still go there? Yeah, that'll be fine. So I'm going to just glue that down while I'm waiting for my glue gun to heat up. These decoders have a little socket for a keep alive, which makes me think that adding a keep alive purely for the interior light, I'm wondering if that is going to mess up the decoder. Let's say I add a capacitor to this end here, which is only going to the light strip underneath. The problem with that is the other side of the light strip feeds back into the decoder, so leave a comment. Would that mess things up if I add a capacitor to the far side of the LED light strip, or will it be okay? Regardless, I'm not wiring that up to a capacitor at the moment. That's just, as I say, future proofing. So I'll leave that tucked out the way for now. Let me know if that would be a problem further down the line if I want to purely add a capacitor to that light strip. Okay, this is going to get glued down here with some hot glue, and then we can wire up all of these. They don't have far to go, thankfully, but we'll get to that once we're glued down. Right, glue gun, are you hot yet? Yes, you are. Right, Let's get a splodge here. Let's get you stuck down right there. And let us commence with the wiring. Now these are way too long at the moment, but I'm going to cut them down one at a time. So let us begin by wiring up the power from the rails. So that's the front. This bar here is going to be the power pickup from the right rail, and that should be red. So I'm going to grab my red wire, tuck these out of the way for now. I'm going to attach it to this P8. So that's picking up power from front and back, and it goes to P8. So we need a little blob of solder there. And while we're at it, I'll add a blob to the other side, which is going to be that P4. So I'm going to just trim this down to about there. We don't need a lot of wire there. I'll just cut it a wee bit longer than we require in case we mess up. Not that I would ever do that. Right rail pickup going to the decoder is in. So now we need the black wire, which will be the left rail pickup. Tuck these out of the way again. Trim you down a little bit. Well, these are the worst snips ever. Don't buy your snips on Amazon. Yeah, I got them in a pack of 7 for peanuts, but you know, pay peanuts, you get peanuts or something. And that's a pair of pickups, front and rear, going to the red and the right, black and the left. Cool. The only thing we have to do now to actually make this run on DCC without lights at the moment would be to hook up our power going from the decoder to the motor. So we want to connect the orange wire from the decoder over to the red wire, those two there, and the grey wire from the decoder to the black wire, which will be there. So because they are going to be exposed, I'm going to grab a little bit of heat shrink, snip them down, metal glue them together, and then put a bit of heat shrink over the top. This can be short again, around about there. Oh, I need new snips back in a sec. I mean, if you can't even cut this 30 gauge wire, then they're going in the bin. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, easy. And the grey wire is going to be just as short. Lovely. Let me get these connected. So that means basically, apart from the lights, this will run in DCC. All these other wires are lights. These two are my LED strip. So I'm going to pop this on the track, make sure it works so far. Right, I've set the loco to address number 3, which is industry standard. If I hit forward and give it a bit of power, we should go that way. Lovely. And change direction. Nice. Still got a very nice crawl. Obviously got some acceleration, deceleration settings to take care of. That's looking, it's sounding nice and quiet. It was very quiet to begin with. Oh, that's perfect. Because sometimes the decoder buzzes, but that one's perfect. Right, onward. Let's get some lights installed. Now, I was inspecting this, and unfortunately, those two tiny little black dots that you can see, I thought they were possibly clear at the other side, but they're not. They're just raised and painted black. Nothing in the inside. There's no holes in there for them, so I'm not going to bother trying to wire up lights at the moment because I'll need to drill holes and I'll make a huge mess. Also, unfortunately, these number board lights on the inside, again, no holes. And this side's even worse because on the inside of that number board, we've got these mounts for the screws to go in. So, unfortunately, no number board lights or red rear lights. I'm just going to do front and back lighting, headlighting. Why is my door squint? Oh, look at that. The door actually slides in. Anyway, I am meandering. Let's get the front and rear lights installed, and of course we can at least get our interior lighting wired up. Okay, let's do that. I do want to tuck this wire out the way somehow though, so let's just hot glue that down for the moment. Good thing about the hot glue, we can always remove it with a bit of heat in the future if we don't like it. Okay, that'll do that. And let me explain how all the lighting works. There are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires left. White wire is the front light negative. Yellow wire, rear light negative. Blue wire is the common positive. That feeds the positive for all your lighting. So this has to connect to the front, the rear, the positive of the interior lighting, and any other lighting that we want to add. So this blue wire is really important. And now you might understand why I wired up the positive of the LED strip to a little blue wire. Purple wire. You may notice that there's a purple wire coming out the decoder, and that's one of the extra functions. So the purple is going to go to the purple as a function, an optional on-off light for the interior. And the other wires, we have a green. In fact, that's it. Just a green wire will not be getting used at the moment, okay? That's what I was going to wire up for maybe the number board lights. So I'm just going to snip the green wire down for now. Not all the way, because we might use it in the future at some point. And work out where we're going to connect. Let's get the interior lighting done first. And saying that though, this blue wire coming from the decoder has to feed all of them. So they all kind of have to get wired at the same time. Tell you what, let's install the front and rear lights. And I'm just going to use the bright white LEDs for this, and I'm going to use the original mounting areas for them as well. That means we don't have to glue anything to the shell and worry about trying to connect wires or tearing wires off. So let's see, that has to go in there. It should just pop right in. Maybe secure it with good old hot glue just to stop it popping out. Yeah, that should be fine there. Got one for the back as well. And as before, just pop it in there. Bit of hot glue, keep it in place. So let me get them glued in. That's my front and rear lights glued in place. So now I've got a red and a black, and I've got my 4 light wires. So I will solder them all together, make it as tidy as possible, give you a bit of a roundup once we're done, okay? Right, let's do it. Now, I know that looks a bit of a mess, but that's only because it is a bit of a mess. But it's not going to get seen. Nothing's fouling anything. Maybe just put a bit of tape over the top here, just in case it tries to rattle against the body. But everything should be isolated. Nothing's going to short out. Let's just stick that over there. Oh yeah, I was going to give you a roundup, wasn't I? So, red wire is the positive from the front headlight. This red wire is the positive from the rear light. Both those black wires go in this way. Front negative goes into the white wire. Rear negative black goes into the yellow wire. And they all share their positives with this little blue wire that goes into the decoder. So I've got 4 positive wires connected to that little decoder wire, and the purple wire is the negative for the interior lights. So that's the way they all work. Let me just hide them if possible, and as I say, it's really just to stop them from vibrating against the shell. That is my very squeaky chair. A screw fell out while I was working on this. Ugh, that'll do. That'll do. A little cap seems to have fallen off there. Just going to bug me because that's going to come out and vibrate, isn't it? That's fine. Right, I'm going to put the shell back on and hopefully everything's going to work perfectly. Just make sure nothing's foul on my drive. Should be good to go. Might as well use my big cradle. That's what I made it for. Make sure he goes in the right way around. There's a big empty section here, which is where the motor lives. Nothing fouling, nothing fouling, nothing fouling. Everything is looking good. Yep. Lovely. Right. Let's get these 4 screws in. I seem to have glue everywhere. You've got to be careful with this hot glue. It does like to string about. Right, let me get more glue. Come on. Right, 4 screws. And we are done. Just a wee bit disappointed I couldn't install my little red LEDs or number board lights, but it is what it is. Let's hope at least everything else I've wired up works as it should. So I'm still pulling out glue from places. Right, let's go over to the track and fingers crossed everything works as it should. Now, normally I would do this section without pre-testing it. However, I did run into some problems with the interior light. So I had to do some CV configuration with this one. The video was long enough. Now, as you can see on the instructions for lighting features, it says, bearing in mind, I've hooked up the purple wire or violet wire, so it should be function F2. Constant bright light, 32 should be the CV value for CV52. However, when I pressed the interior light with function 2, it came on, and as soon as I took my finger off function 2, it went off. So I had to mess about. So instead of using function 2, I have changed it down to lighting quick presets, CV8, and I've set that to 10. So basically now it does work, but I'm pressing function 1. And if I press function 2, it will flash like ditch lights, which is kind of funky, but hey, that's okay. Function 1 will switch them off again. So they do work, forward and reverse. Headlights also should work, front. The movement is really fantastic. So that's speed step 1 of 128. As you can see, it crawls really nice. And then the headlight will go off and go on at the back when I change direction. Interior lights stay on. So overall, I'm pretty happy, just not 100% happy with the instructions for the decoder settings, to be honest. And it's not the first time I've ran into problems with these instructions. They are fairly basic, simple instructions, but they don't do as they're supposed to. A wee flash as we go by. I've yet to install ditch lights on anything, so that's going to be another challenge. Overall, pretty happy with the install. Wee bit sad I couldn't get my red lights at the back to work or the number boards, but hey, that's life. It looks way better now with its interior lights and its headlights, so we'll take that as a win. Let me tidy up this disaster as usual. We'll go for a victory lap, and I'll see you very soon on the next one, which will be, I have no idea. It'll be something fun. Take care, bye for now.